Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is threatening jail time if radio stations run a pro-choice ad. Huh. Now, the ad in question is about the pro-choice ballot amendment, which would restore Roe protections in Florida if it reaches a 60% threshold. Now, hitting 50%, pretty easy, right? 60%, a lot harder. So that's a pretty high bar to begin with. But even so, the state of Florida is not, is making sure, right? They are making sure that this does not happen, that they do not have abortion rights enshrined in the state. So they're pushing even more money to fight against the initiative. Okay, that's fine. They could do that. However, as one final act against it, they are now threatening jail time for the employees of radio stations and TV stations that agreed to run an ad for the pro-choice amendment. Remember, we're not talking about civil charges. We're not talking about anything like that. We're talking about criminal charges, prison time. So how can they do this? Well, they can't, but they're going to anyway. Okay. So now we're all aware that Florida currently has a 6-week abortion ban, right? Now the ad rightfully claims that the law endangers women who have a medical need for an abortion and are unable to get one in the state. The Florida Department of Health, the agency that's threatening the prosecution, says the law has exceptions for anybody who's in this situation. Okay. All right. So you can point that out and you can be like, well, we've got exceptions for that. So this is just misinformation. All right. Well, you can say that. You can say that. And technically, yes, the law has an exception for the life of the mother. Now, what that means is never really explained in detail. All right. So that's made many doctors wary of acting on their interpretation of the law for fear that they could be prosecuted for manslaughter or murder if the state happens to disagree. So this is not a what-if scenario, all right? We've seen this happen in red states all across the country. For example, in Georgia, there are 2 recent cases that have been highlighted. Amber Nicole Thurman, who died from a preventable complication, as well as Candy Miller. Not only that, but you had an Associated Press report that found that pregnant women in crisis were turned away from U.S. emergency rooms. Okay, the number of those situations that had happened spiked in 2022 after the end of Roe. So that left women to miscarry in public bathrooms or wait for treatment in their cars or get told by doctors to seek care elsewhere. This is a very real scenario. This happens, okay? Now, the investigation also found that women developed infections or even lost part of their reproductive system after hospitals in abortion-banned states delayed emergency abortions as a result of their laws. So pointing that out is, I mean, again, these are facts. These are things that have happened. Now, that said, the state of Florida says, no, airing this ad is a criminal offense because it creates a public health panic. What? They also said it confuses women about state law and might lead them to not seek care. Don't you want the women to go and get the care that they need that we will ultimately reject, because we're pro-life? How dare you try to point out this situation? What? Okay, how does making a demonstrably accurate claim constitute a crime in Florida? Unless, of course, Florida is admitting that we are criminalizing facts. Because that's what they're doing. Okay? That's what they're doing. They're criminalizing facts in order to prevent the voters of the state from making an informed decision on this abortion ban. They want to keep the law on the books. Obviously, it seems like the people trying to confuse voters is the government of Florida, the conservative government of Florida. And by the way, the right wing in general has been using all sorts of dirty tricks to try to muddy the waters on this issue. All right. Do you remember crisis pregnancy centers, which are not staffed with real doctors? You got people walking around in lab coats pretending to be doctors. And they don't outright say, "Oh, I am a trained doctor," but they wear these, they wear the white coats and they walk around. They got clipboards. They look all professional. Oh yeah, and then they'll tell you insane things like, "Oh, do you know that getting an abortion will actually cause infertility?" It doesn't. No, they will give you false information to scare you out of getting an abortion. A crisis pregnancy center. I mean, this is one of the ways, right, that the right wing tries to basically manipulate people, misinform people, women, so that they don't get abortions. And they said, "Oh yeah, no, if you get an abortion, you'll be infertile." Also not true. Not true. So yeah, the assumption here is that women are stupid. I happen to think that that's not the case. I happen to think that women are very smart. It's just, you have to have access to the facts, all right, to make good decisions. Now, only one side is trying to keep people from actually getting real facts. And it ain't the left, all right? Now, here's the thing. The other issue, right, for the state is that this is wildly unconstitutional. I mean, you are going to lock people up. You're going to throw them in jail for an ad, for playing an ad filled with true information? That is wildly unconstitutional. It's very unfree speech-like, Ron. I mean, what the hell? Okay. Now, that said, the reason that the state is pushing forward with this, even knowing how massively unconstitutional it is that, well, in order to have a case be made against it on free speech grounds, someone's going to have standing. They're going to have to get punished for it. They're going to have to spend time in jail for it. And then groups like the ACLU would likely step in, and you would also have like pro-choice groups stepping in to then go through the court system. However, nobody really wants to do that. I mean, the station employees being threatened with jail time, I don't know. I don't think a lot of them are going to be interested in going to jail for this, right? And don't really have the confidence, too, that a court will eventually toss the charges, considering how it would have to work through, like, the Florida courts first, and then work its way up through years of litigation, perhaps even to the Supreme Court, who got rid of Roe in the first place. So do you really blame them for not wanting to immediately come out and test this? And so this is why DeSantis, I think, currently will get away with it. Okay? They know what they're doing is unconstitutional. But they don't give a damn. And by the way, one way or the other, he's only got to do this for less than a month. Because that's when that ballot measure goes up for a vote. Once it's defeated or once it passes, he doesn't have to threaten this anymore. So this is what it's about, okay? This is the calculation that I believe he's been making in order to try to prevent voters in Florida from overturning the abortion ban that he is so very proud of signing into law. And if this is effective and doesn't get challenged, well, I wouldn't be surprised to see that spread, that idea spread to other states. So be warned, this could be a tactic they're going to try to use. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon in order to get notified whenever a new video is released. And if you want to support independent, progressive media through this difficult time where it seems like everybody is shutting down, you can become a member on our YouTube page, you can become a subscriber on Facebook, or you can go to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Thank you.